Welcome to the Facebook Live event to discuss the new Bachelor of Science degree in Computational Biology at Carnegie Mellon University. I'm Bob Murphy. I'm the head of the Computational Biology Department in the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon. And
I'm Catherine Rader. I'm a professor of statistics and also of computational biology.
And I'm Philip Campo. I'm an assistant teaching professor in the Computational Biology Department.
we want to tell you today about this new Bachelor's of Science in Computational Biology degree. It's the first major in the School of Computer Science other than the Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. And the reason behind that is in part to reflect the growing importance of computer science in all aspects of society, and biology and medicine is certainly a very important one. And the School of Computer Science is trying to expand its educational mission to include many of these other aspects of computer science and how it is playing a role in society. We actually have 7 different departments within the School of Computer Science here that focus on different aspects of the application of computer science. One of the things that you may not be aware of is that computational biology has grown as a discipline as we have discovered just how complex cells and organs and people are. When I was your age, we thought that biology was a pretty simple discipline and that you could figure out how cells worked by taking them apart the way that people used to take apart cars and fix them. But what we've discovered over the last few decades is that that's just simply not the case, that biological systems are very complicated and that we need computational models in order to understand how they're functioning. And I think as well there are tremendous research opportunities both in biology and medicine, and Catherine's going to tell us a little bit about that.
So already with studies of cancer, people have made remarkable breakthroughs in the treatment by using machine learning and computer science tools. But they need to have insights into the biology to do the right analysis, and they've seen that they can measure the gene expression and decide which is the right treatment for somebody, which is an amazing breakthrough because people suffer a lot if the treatment doesn't work. And there's so many more problems that we still need to solve. Like we know that with autism, that there's hundreds of genes that might play a role because the brain is so complex. But we know that pharmaceuticals are never going to be coming up with hundreds of different treatments. So we need to be able to think about how do those genes work together and what kind of systems of genes are leading to different kinds of autism and what kind of treatments might we get. And if a student has training in biology and in computer science and machine learning kind of techniques, they can get those breakthroughs that we're hoping to have in the future.
Yeah, so to build on what Catherine was saying, I'd like to drive home that we're very interested in capturing students who have an interest in being pre-med students as well and going on and being the future doctors that we'll see in the next generation. And to give a couple more examples of how computation is very necessary for modern medical research, one would be that we're already starting to see examples of people who are having their lives saved because of genome sequencing, where doctors are finding genes that they're actually defective for and providing them with gene therapy in order to make them better. We're seeing that many medications that are given to many patients have potentially very harmful or even fatal side effects. One example, a classic example would be warfarin, which is a blood thinner that often is given in emergency situations, but a small but significant percentage of people still have a genetic variant that makes them much more sensitive to this medication than others, and it can possibly lead to fatal side effects. So you can imagine all these different possible applications of computation to medicine where we need to analyze big data sets. For example, you may have seen all the news coming out from IBM Watson and the possibilities of moving from a doctor being able to see only a small amount of information to a supercomputer being able to analyze an enormous amount of data simultaneously and find patterns that a single individual couldn't, as well as maybe to create automated testing that would be a lot cheaper and more scalable than anything that we currently have, that could lower healthcare costs and free doctors' time to actually serve patients a little more. So again, we hope that if you're interested in pre-med and you're interested in School of Computer Science, we think we have a fantastic major for you, because in addition, it's a nice fit with the pre-med requirements that you would take at Carnegie Mellon. Our curriculum is designed in part so that there's a little bit of overlap there with some of the general science requirements that you would have as a pre-med student, as well as the requirements that we have for our degree. So I'd like to kind of use that to pivot and talk a little bit about the curriculum, I guess, and to say that there's kind of a broad scientific education that you would need if you wanted to be a comp bio major. You would need introductory chem classes, introductory physics course, introductory biology courses, and then you, as well as say math and statistics, but then you would get a biology core that would train you in courses like biochemistry or cell biology or genetics. You'd get a computer science core that would be very similar to the computer science core that a computer science major would take. And in fact, if you wanted to take the computer science core that CS majors take, that would fit in perfectly well with doing the comp bio major as well. And we also have a computational biology core where we have excellent courses that our faculty currently teach that will be made as a computational biology core of several courses in genomics, as well as cell and systems modeling, and for example, a laboratory course that teaches you laboratory techniques that are relevant to computational biology. So we've set up this course to kind of give you a broad set of interests across the spectrum from biology to computer science, as well as providing you with the opportunity to synthesize these and learn about how they interact in a comp bio core as well. So I guess I would say also, what would you do to potentially demonstrate that you're interested in taking this kind of curriculum? Well, we hope that anybody who's interested in applying to the School of Computer Science probably has a scientific interest, since computer science is in itself a scientific discipline. We think that you probably also have high AP computer science scores, maybe a high AP biology score, as well as SAT subject tests, as well as excellent SAT scores and GPA. You can also demonstrate to us that you're interested in the major if you take perhaps online courses. In the area, there are many online courses now in computational biology or bioinformatics. And many of the students that we've actually started talking to who have already expressed interest to us, which is great since the major has only been established for about a week, have told us about research projects that they've done at universities, sometimes with professors in the area already, and that essentially this major is something that they've been hoping would exist, but is essentially unique, especially among our peer institutions, and is something that doesn't currently exist, and something that we're really hoping that if you're interested in it, you'll be able to come in and do, and not be able to do anywhere else. So, Catherine, would you like to talk about jobs?
So there are many different kinds of jobs you could get with a degree like this. For instance, there's the traditional bioinformatics kind of jobs, big data analysis. Even Google has a major genomics project. So they want to have people who know the words, know the science, but also can handle these massive amounts of data. Genomics data is huge, so you need the computer science skills. Biologists can't get these jobs, but at the same time, nobody wants to have to train the computer science to know the science. So
if I could just also add to that,
Yeah.
a number of the companies that are looking for people in this area are moving from traditional ways of developing drugs and developing biotechnology products to having those be more computationally driven, so that a lot of people are looking in the pharmaceutical industry and the biotech industries are looking for people with this skill set.
yes, they're stealing people that I know all the time. They're very eager to hire people with this dual skill set. And then personalized medicine is such a growing area. There's lots of startups, and they need system designers, and they want people who they can talk to and communicate with to do the computer science and the biology part of this kind of work. Then if you want to go on, you're well positioned to go to graduate school to study genomics and to study, look for look for the kind of cures that I was talking about to do the analysis of the data. And then you're well positioned to go to medical school. Lots of people at the Pitt Medical School, I sponsor their research while they're in medical school, and I always wish they knew more computer science. I think that they wish they did too.
So some practicalities associated with the major maybe we could talk about. There's no need to, for example, check a box on your application and say you're interested in computational biology. We would stress that you are still applying to the School of Computer Science. So we're accepting students to the School of Computer Science, and then your major is a decision that you make once you get here. So for example, if you know you're interested in computer science and maybe are just learning about computational biology, this is a decision that you can make down the road after you're here. The early decision deadline is November 1st, which is coming up soon. The regular decision deadline is in January 1st. But we would also stress to you that if you're interested in the major or you have any additional questions for us that we don't get to cover here today, please feel free to get in touch with us. We all have emails. We're easy to find. You can check out our website at cbd.cmu.edu where you can learn more about the program and more contact information. And there are also what are called turn tartan overnight events, which allow you to come in and stay on campus for a night as well as come to classes and hear seminars of different things going on and hear more information about the computer science major, the comp bio major, and what it's like to be a student in the School of Computer Science. So we'd encourage you to get in touch with us or to sign up for one of those events. So maybe that's kind of everything that we wanted to say.
Let me just add one
Basic
thing on
information.
the last aspect of the practicalities. Because the application this year doesn't have a checkbox for interest in a computational biology major, if that's what you're interested in, it would be good to put that in your essay.
Yes.
We're looking for an incoming class of about 20 to 25 prospective computational biology majors, and so expressing your interest in that would be important in order to be among that group. So, as Philip said, let's go to questions.
All right, we have some questions that came in through direct message, and the first one is, will undergraduate students in the computational biology program have the opportunity to work on experimental and/or computational research?
So I think I'll take that one. I actually, my research group does both experimental work and computational work. And so I have students working with me who are undergraduates and graduate students, each of whom might do entirely experimental work or entirely computational work or some mixture of the two. In addition, we have a long tradition here at Carnegie Mellon of undergraduate research in a wide range of areas, and students in this program would have the opportunity to work with faculty members in the biological sciences department, in the biomedical engineering department, in the computational biology department, as well as, of course, any of the other departments within the School of Computer Science. So the combination that each person wants to have between computational and experimental work, they would have the opportunity to do that.
All right, our next question is, what about jobs and internships? Does your program facilitate these opportunities?
Maybe if you want to take
Yeah,
that.
sure. So one way in which we would facilitate internships is that we already have existing programs at the graduate level that we offer. We already offer a PhD program in computational biology that's joint with the University of Pittsburgh, and we already have, for example, an MS or master's program in computational biology. And through these programs, we've already placed many graduates into industry jobs and internships. So we already have a contact network built up. And so in this respect, if you may be interested in medical school or graduate school, and we can help you with that, but if you're interested in internships as well as industry opportunities after you finish, we really want to help you with career placement as well, which is something that I think many majors, especially at other institutions, wouldn't do. You might just be relying upon a central office to kind of help you find a job. We understand that we can be we're a very niche degree in that we have a very specific set of skills as well as a specific set of types of employment opportunities that are available for graduates in this program. And so we plan on continuing to build our network of employers to kind of help place you into jobs and internships after you finish.
Just last year, one of my undergrads went to the Broad Institute for the summer, and he had a very exciting internship there.
So we have a student who noticed that there's a minor in computational biology, and they wonder, why would I major instead of minoring in computational biology?
It's a great question. I think the issue is, in an undergraduate degree, having enough time to become an expert in both computer science, biology, and computational biology. And the computer science degree has some coursework which really doesn't get used that often, if at all, in computational biology. And so the computational biology major removes that coursework and creates room for additional coursework, which is where we have the space to put in biology coursework and computational biology coursework. So it's really a question of degree. The computational biology minor is certainly a reasonable option, but it's a smaller commitment in terms of number of courses, and of course you come out with a less balanced degree in terms of the knowledge of both biology and computer science.
The next question is for each of you to address individually. What is most exciting to you about the future of computational biology research?
Do you want to start us off?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm really interested in understanding the genetic basis of disease. I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to move forward with that, and moving towards really understanding the brain and kind of bringing a little neuroscience into the genomics, and anyway, that's where I'm at. And I think that there'll be a lot of opportunities for students. In fact, today President Obama was here, and we had a Frontiers conference, and that was several times they brought up the idea that there's a young person somewhere who's just now going to be going to college and solve these problems.
So the thing I'm most interested in is the idea of being able to construct models that describe how cells and tissues work. It's something that we really could not have imagined doing until the recent development in the last couple of decades of both automated equipment for doing experiments and the kinds of machine learning techniques that have been developed and are continuing to be developed. So the combination of machine learning and automated experimentation means that we can start to couple those and build more and more complex models that can understand or that can capture how our cells and our tissues work. And that's really going to be essential for developing therapies that are specific. Some of the things that Catherine was talking about before is having those good models. And it's a fascinating machine learning problem to be able to try to figure out how a cell is put together. It's a little bit like as if you had a camera that you could take pictures of cars with, but you could only take pictures of one material at a time, right? So you got a picture of the engine block, and you had a picture of the steering wheel, and you had a picture of the tires, and you had a picture. So you have all the parts, or even if you just think of the parts list that comes out of the factory for that car. So we can figure out what all the parts are through experimentation, but the question is, how do we put all those parts together to make a functioning cell? And how do we tell when there's something wrong that that particular cell doesn't function properly? So that's a really interesting machine learning problem, because it's like trying to figure out how to put the car together from just the parts. Right? Where do you start? What do you put on together first? And so putting all of those pieces together is something I'm really excited about, and that's something we work on in my own group.
I guess what excites me would be, it's hard to find a scientific discipline, or even a sub-discipline, let's say, that hasn't been revolutionized by quantitative methods at this point. Whereas biology is really, in many senses, the last main scientific discipline to have a quantitative or computational revolution in it. And so that revolution is still young enough that it's still an exciting field. I know my own background is in mathematics, and until you get to the graduate level, it's very difficult to find anything that you learn about that wasn't done at least 100 years ago. Whereas the things that we encounter in our coursework are things that directly come from literature and are things that didn't exist more than 5 years ago often. And these are things you can learn about as a freshman or a sophomore even and get connected to. Another aspect of that is that it's very much a source of conflict and debate and a frontier of sorts, in that there are many papers that are published and then are disputed, and people duke it out and they try to find an answer because there's not an immediate initial answer to many of these questions, and it takes years of work, and we see very many open questions that are that way in computational biology.
Okay, well, thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward to talking with many of you about our exciting new degree.